The AAC Report is brought to you by Blake Blahut of Realty One Group. Whether you're looking to buy your very first home or looking to downsize or upgrade, call Blake Blahut anytime at 407-748-0484. Welcome to the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network. I'm Jeff Allen. Thank you so much for listening. It's time to unpack Week 12, get you ready for Week 13, including a look at our Spotlight Game of the Week. With Cincinnati hosting Temple, Colin Thompson, former Temple tight end, and a member of the Owls broadcast team, joins us for a quick preview on that later in the show. Memphis defeated Houston 45-27 as Brady White threw for 341 yards and 5 touchdowns. The Tigers go to 9-1, 5-1 in conference as they hold the tiebreaker in the West over SMU and Navy with identical records. Tigers head coach Mike Norvell.
Yeah, I was really pleased with our guys. Anytime we go on the road in conference play, it's always a challenge. And even though we didn't get off to the best of starts, gave up a couple of big plays due to missed tackle here and there, and had the early turnover. I mean, our guys responded in an outstanding fashion. We played a very tough game. I thought we played physical. We were able to maintain balance. Offensively, defensively. You take out the two big plays that Houston had. I thought we were able to shut them down, and you stop in the run game and being able to contain the quarterback and the explosive receivers. There was a couple things that we have to continue to improve on. The block punt there late in the game is just something that we can't have. But all in all, I thought our guys played at a high level. Really pleased with the way that we're progressing through the season, and we know we have another challenge. Coming up this week, going down to Tampa against another very athletic and a talented football team in South Florida. It's one of the best defenses in our league. They've got some young playmakers on the offensive side that can yet to account for, once again, just a very, very talented group.
Houston, meanwhile, falls to 3-7, 1-5 in conference. Cougs head coach Dana Holgerson.
Not a whole lot to talk about from a Memphis perspective. Didn't play a real good second half. Those guys are playing pretty good. I got a lot of respect for how they played, and the amount of talent they had and the amount of depth that they had. So clearly they're in a little better place than we are at this point in time right now. But got to keep moving on. Got to keep your head down. Keep going. Got another tough one this week. Tulsa's in the same situation that we are from a scheduling perspective. Played a lot of the same teams. They're competitive as in every game. They've lost some close ones, much like we have, with a very, very, very tough schedule. So we know it's going to be a challenging game here Saturday night.
Sam Crosa kicked a 37-yard field goal as time expired to lift Cincinnati to a 20-17 victory over South Florida and clinch at least a share of the American Athletic Conference Eastern Division title. We'll talk more about the Bearcats later. Meanwhile, here's Bulls head coach Charlie Strong on the tough defeat.
Well, a tough loss in Cincinnati is a good took advantage of opportunities that we didn't take advantage of, and you just hate to see a game end like that in the last-second field goal, and that's how they beat us. But Memphis is an outstanding team, another ranked opponent. Really, really good on offense, but it's just all well-rounded, great in special teams, and defensively to put enough pressure on you. We know our hands are going to be. It's going to be a battle for us. We're going to have to go play well, and it's a good thing we got them at home. So, looking forward to the matchup.
Navy fell to Notre Dame in last week's Spotlight Game of the Week by a 52-20 count. The Irish defense forced 3 first-half fumbles by Navy quarterback Malcolm Perry. He did rush 25 times for 117 yards in the defeat. Audio from Coach Kenya Matalolo from the teleconference this week was not available. Now let's hear from the coaches whose team were on the bye week, 5 of them in all. We will first hear from UConn head coach Randy Edsall.
Well, we're going to play a really good East Carolina team who's really hot right now. Scored 93 points in the last 2 games. It's thrown for over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. So, we're going to have our work cut out for us. They're playing well, and we're coming off a bye, and we're able to get a little bit healthy and get some rest and be ready to go here for the last two games.
Likewise, ECU comes off the bye for that matchup. Here is Pirates head coach Mike Houston.
Well, I thought our kids really did a good job last week. Thought we had good effort and good focus of practice. Thought we were very energetic. They got a couple of days off and came back, and I thought we had a very good Sunday practice yesterday. So excited about this week and excited about an opportunity to go play on Saturday.
SMU comes off the bye ahead of their matchup with Navy. Here's Mustangs head coach Sonny Dykes.
Great things about the environment. Certainly have a lot of respect for the Naval Academy and the football team and just everything that they stand for and the way they play. It's always impressive, and they've got a good team this year. I think the game Saturday certainly was not indicative of the kind of football team they have. It was one of those games where things just kind of snowballed, and that happens sometimes. And I was really impressed with the way their guys just kept playing, and they played hard every snap and played like you would expect them to play, even after they got down early. Just didn't have some things go their way early in the ball game. So it's a big game for us. We're going to have to when you play against them, you got to play very disciplined football. They execute very well, and that's what good football teams do. They do those two things. They play disciplined and they execute, and that's why Navy's had the success they have had this year, and they've had traditionally. Ken's teams always do that. They're well coached, and I think their quarterback's a really good football player and just an impressive guy to watch. Very hard to tackle, and so we've had a little bit of extra time to prepare for him, but we'll need it. And you really can't simulate how fast they play, how fast everything happens, and how quick the quarterback is, and what a good runner he is in practice. And so we're going to have to try to figure it out as quickly as we can once the game gets started.
Tulsa probably enjoyed their bye week as they defeated UCF a couple of weeks ago to go into the bye with a victory. Golden Hurricanes head coach Philip Montgomery.
Yeah, had a good open week. Got a bunch of guys banged up, and so trying to get those guys back. Got good work in and got an opportunity to focus in on some things that we needed to improve on, and thought we did a good job of that. Got guys an opportunity from a class standpoint to stay on top of that situation, and so had a good open week. Got a lot of good work in. Obviously, preparing for Houston, they're a very talented team. Receiver-wise, those guys they can stretch the field with anybody. I think the quarterback's playing extremely well, and they're physical on both sides up front. So, we've got our hands full, but looking forward to the opportunity to get back on the field and continue to get better.
Meanwhile, the Knights, coming off of that loss, tried to spend the bye week just getting better. Here's head coach Josh Heupel.
Yeah, excited about the game against a really good football team in Tulane, and I know guys are just ready to get back on the field and go play and compete together. Bye week went well, able to get some guys healthy, got some good work in, and obviously coaches were able to get out and do some recruiting as well. So beneficial week to us, but everyone's excited about the task at hand this week.
Now for my nickel's worth on UCF, because 2 cents is not enough. Well, UCF going into the game against Tulane, the bye week probably came at a good time as they suffered a very tough defeat on the road. Tulsa finally coming through after trying to slay the Giants. They almost had SMU. They almost had Memphis. They gave Cincinnati a tough battle, and they finally scored their win against one of the elite teams in the conference in UCF. So the Knights, Tulsa's been a house of horrors for them, and it continued to be so this year. And as they go to New Orleans to take on the Green Wave, another tough road encounter. Tulane has put together a nice season. The Green Wave are definitely capable on the offensive side of the ball. They're, they've been in every game they've played in essentially this season, and this will not be an easy one for UCF. And having lost 3 games on the road, are they going to be a different team on the road? Their only really good road performance was at Temple So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this upcoming contest. UCF at Tulane, noon Saturday on CBS Sports Network. That's actually at 11 a.m. kickoff in New Orleans. UCF leads the all-time series 6-2, including their last meeting in 2016 by a 37-6 count. ECU at UConn, noon on ESPN3. ECU leads the all-time series 4-1 and was victorious last season by a 55-21 score. Number 25 SMU at Navy in a big West Division matchup, 3:30 Saturday on CBS Sports Network. Navy leads the all-time series 12-8, and SMU was victorious, however, last year by a 31-30 score. Number 18 Memphis at USF, 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon on ESPNU. Memphis leads the all-time series 5-4. USF, back in 2016, when they had a pretty good team, won a 49-42 thriller over the Tigers that year. Houston and Tulsa, 7:30 Saturday night on ESPNU. Houston leads the all-time series 24-19, and they were winners last year by a 41-26 counts. Coming up next, we talk about our Spotlight Game of the Week as Temple takes on Cincinnati when the AAC Report continues in just a moment. Are you tired of the endless money pit of paying rent? Do you have a home you need to sell for top dollar? Talk to the Hometown Advantage award-winning real estate professional and fellow UCF Knight, Blake Blahut of Realty One Group. Blake has proven to produce results and a smooth process for his clients all across Central Florida. Whether you're looking to buy your very first home or looking to downsize or upgrade, talk to Blake Blahut. Visit him at his website, Blake'sOrlandoHomes.com, or contact him anytime at 407-748-0484. Again, Blake'sOrlandoHomes.com and 407-748-0484. Get the hometown advantage by working with Blake.
Island H2O Live, a new wave of water park.
Experience the next generation of fun at Island H2O Live. You choose the music. You choose the lighting. And you choose where to share your memorable moments at Florida's newest and most immersive water park.
Island H2O Live.
Now open in Kissimmee, located off US 192 and State Road 429 on Inspiration Boulevard.
Island H2O Live.
Will Mobley kicked 3 field goals, and Anthony Russo tossed 2 touchdown passes as Temple held off Tulane 29-21. Temple goes to 7-3, 4-2 in conference. Here's Al's head coach, Rod Carey.
We're really happy about the win. Obviously, Tulane's a good football team, and they are good in all 3 phases. And certainly, it was a hard-fought win. And defense, played really well, and offense, played better as well. And then Quincy certainly had an outstanding performance with his execution in the ball game, and so very happy with it. Obviously, a hard-fought game now. We got to go to Cincy, and we know it'll be a hostile environment against a really good team, and they're another team in the conference that's really good in all 3 phases, and they don't beat themselves, so it's going to be a challenge.
As we mentioned earlier, Cincinnati needed a field goal as time expired to beat South Florida. Bearcats head coach Luke Fickell.
Well, it was a really tough game. We didn't have a whole lot of things going right for us, both offensively and defensively. Didn't play very clean at all. Obviously, to their credit as well, they played really well defensively. I think, especially in the first half, and then offensively, they were good and efficient at moving the ball a little bit and creating some big plays. We came out the second half and found a way to turn some momentum and energy around. A lot of it had to do with our special teams, not just Sam. Sam did a great job, obviously, and a clutch field goal early on, and then in the second half, and then obviously the clutch field goal for the game winner to end the game. But a lot of things went into that. I think the special teams in general, our ability to kickoff team to start the second half with a ball on the 12-yard line, as well as our punt team to down 2 balls inside the 10-yard line. I think we had 6 explosive plays in our special units that we kind of evaluate, and they gave us the opportunity with the block punt again for the fourth week in a row. Well, for 3, but should be 4. The league still has not acknowledged that Ethan Tuckey blocked his third punt against ECU, which I think we got to do some way, somehow. Our league's got to step in and take a peek at the video and make it right for a kid. We try to give as much as we possibly can to our kids, especially in this world today where everybody else gets a lot. The things they do earn, we got to get. But our special teams have made a huge impact. They're going to need to down the stretch here. We're going to face a really good Temple football team. To me, the strength of them up front defensively, and then offensive line, their ability to run the football, but also to take shots down the field. So it's going to be an incredible challenge for us. And we got to play a lot better in order to have a chance.
Big showdown in the AAC Eastern Division coming up this Saturday. Temple visits Cincinnati. Joining us to talk about that now, former Temple tight end and currently part of the Temple Radio Network, Colin Thompson is here. Colin, thank you for being here.
Jeff, thanks for having me on, man. It's a pleasure.
Well, I'll tell you what, when I look at these two teams, I don't see a lot of difference in contrast. It looks like, both like to run the football, both like to have good, strong defense, and play tough, hard-nosed football. Would you agree with that assessment?
I would, especially from Cincinnati and Ritter, that doesn't have a receiver over 445 yards receiving. It's a guy who is a play-action running quarterback, has a running touchdown this year. He's thrown for 17 touchdowns, but he doesn't throw it down the field by any means. They spread it out a little bit, and a team that's been really successful this year. Under Coach Fickle, a former Ohio State player, former Ohio State assistant coach and interim head coach at one point in time there after Coach Trestman, I believe. So a storied, head coach coming from a great program, and I'm bringing that same tradition and attention to detail and passion in their play to Cincinnati. You see it when they play. It's a tough team. So Temple-wise, running the football, yes, they have 2 great running backs in Jagger Gardner, who had a career day against USF with 130-plus yards rushing, a TD to go along with it as well, I believe. And then Ray Davis, a true freshman who you're going to hear a lot about in the American going forward, a player who'll be, he could be a freshman All-American. He's had that type of year. But Temple's got 2 bell cow running backs, a team that likes to play tough-nosed run defense. Same with Cincinnati. So you're 100% right. 2 teams that mirror each other very similarly. Yeah,
and both have recent contests with South Florida, in which Temple came away with a 17-7 win. Cincinnati had to win on a late field goal last week. It's kind of interesting that those games were kind of very parallel.
No question. I think people expected Cincinnati to run away with that. I believe that line for that game was over 10 points. And I still thought that was low, looking at that line. Cincinnati's a good football team. Their only loss is to Ohio State. But I will say this. They've won some tight games. They beat ECU, which in my opinion is not a great football team this year, 46-43. They won by 11 against Tulsa, but it's not a huge number for the American. They snuck out a win over Houston. UCF, they won by 3. And UCLA to start the year, they won by 10. So it's kind of like that. They're having a similar season. I'll compare it to that Blake Bortles year, his final year at UCF, where they went to the big bowl game, but they won a lot of close football games.
Yeah, they were the Cardiac Knights that year.
Yeah, right. So that's what it's all about. I remember our head coach at Temple, Matt Rule, actually, when I was in my senior year at Temple, he pulled up that Blake Bortles that schedule at UCF, and he said, "This is what it takes to win football games. It all comes down to the last drive. How do you finish? How do you score? Are you settling for field goals in the red zone? Or are you scoring touchdowns in the red zone? Are you turning the ball over? What's your third down percentage?" All those little ways to win a football game matter. And UCF does that. UCF does that well, but Cincinnati does that well. They're a very well-coached team. That's a tough place to go, especially late in the year. Temple's going. It's going to be cold in Ohio, South Ohio there. So we go there Saturday night under the lights. Like I said, a well-disciplined football team who went down to USF, had a lot of parallels to the game, like you said, Jeff, and snuck out a win.
And let's talk about Temple's last game, 29-21 over Tulane, and yet just another indicator of how tough the American really is this year. Tulane has put together a nice season, and in the games they've lost, they have generally been in.
no question, Tulane's a good football team. I think they put everyone on notice. They played Army tough. Army was a good football team last year. So, Tulane, with McMillan at quarterback, the transfer from LSU, who's been with the program now for 2 years, and the new coach there, they've done a lot of really nice things. There's different tiers of the American, and they're up in that Temple tier, I think, right now, which is probably the upper middle of the American Conference, where they're going to play everybody tough. They may not win with these massive margins of victory like a UCF or an SMU or a Memphis is doing, but they're in that second tier where they're hanging tough with teams, and they're competitive every single Saturday, or I should say Thursday or Friday, because of the American.
Yeah. And so with Temple coming into this game in Cincinnati, they have a chance to put themselves into the equation as possible Eastern Division champions. Yeah. Would you have thought that a few weeks ago after the tough loss when they got destroyed by UCF?
Yeah, that was a bummer. I thought they could play with UCF, not to go back to that game. Player for player, I think they could. But I don't think anybody can play with that tempo. And that's what I was explaining this week on the broadcast when they're saying UCF's talent. I'm like, UCF's talented, don't get me wrong. But so's Temple. UCF just executes at an unbelievable level and at an unbelievable pace. But no, great question. I thought Temple was out of it, a little wind out of the sails, because a team that's loaded, a team that's bowl eligible now, for the last 6 years straight under 3 different head coaches. So it's pretty impressive. It's a testament to the players, a testament to the coaches and the athletic department there at Temple University. But to answer your question, like I said, I thought Temple was dead in the water when it came to the American race.
That's Colin Thompson, former Temple tight end and part of the Owls broadcast crew. And you can follow him at Colin Thompson TU. And you could also catch him on a new podcast he's on called the Not For Long podcast on a podcast provider near you. And incidentally, he was also a draft pick of the Tampa Bay Vipers of the XFL. He'll be down here in Florida early December for their first minicamp, and we wish him the best as far as that goes. Temple at number 19, Cincinnati, 7 o'clock Saturday night on ESPN2. Temple leads the all-time series 13-7. There's been one tie, and Temple won the game last year 24-17. AAC Commissioner Mike Oresco announced the 2-year football scheduling model for conference games. It'll be in place for the 2020 and 2021 football seasons. That model approved by the conference's ADs last week at the conference's fall meeting in Philadelphia. The 2020 season will be the first for the American with 11 teams. The 2020 and 2021 schedules include 8 conference games, 4 home games, and 4 road games for each team in each season. Each team will face the other 10 teams at least once in that 2-year cycle. There will not be a divisional format for those 2 seasons. The conference will determine procedures for determining the participants in the AAC Football Championship at a later date. They had to get the waiver in order to conduct the championship game after dropping from 12 to 11 with UConn's departure. Football honors the Offensive Player of the Week. Brady White of Memphis was responsible for 6 touchdowns, 348 yards total offense, and the Tigers win over Houston. The Defensive Player of the Week, Quincy Roche of Temple, set an AAC single-game record with 6 tackles for a loss, and the victory over Tulane had 12 tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, a quarterback hurry, and 2 of those sacks were key in Tulane's final drive as Greenway were threatening to tie the game. That was quite a defensive effort there. And the Special Teams Player of the Week, Sam Crosa of Cincinnati, with that game-winning field goal to let the Bearcats over the USF Bulls. Let's turn to some other sports. In AAC women's soccer action, the NCAA tournament underway. South Florida went on the road and defeated Florida by a count of 4-2. Evelyn Viens broke the American Seagulls season record for goals after scoring a hat trick against the Gators with a late first half goal and then too early in the second half, and has scored all 7 of the Bulls' goals in the postseason, including 4 in the American Championship. And with that win, USF advances to the second round to face 4th-ranked Washington on Friday. American regular season champion Memphis fell to Washington State 1-0 on a 62nd minute goal by Washington State. The Tigers were outshot 16-4. Elizabeth Moberg did make 6 saves for the Tigers. On the men's side, the AAC placed 3 teams in the NCAA championship for the second straight year, as UCF, USF, and SMU were all among the 48 teams announced in the tournament field on Monday. Conference champion SMU earned the league's automatic bid, while UCF and USF were at large selections. The American earned 2 national seeds for the first time as the Mustangs enter as the number 8 seed and the Knights as the number 9 seed. Both teams received byes to the second round as a result. USF, meanwhile, will travel to Louisville to take on the Cardinals Thursday in the first round, and the winner of that one will face number 14 seed UC Davis on Sunday. SMU will host the winner of NC State and Coastal Carolina in Westcott Field in Sunday's second round, and the winner of Missouri State and Denver will travel here to Orlando on Sunday to take on the Knights. The American Athletic Conference Women's Volleyball Championship is scheduled for Friday through Sunday at the venue in Orlando, featuring 6 teams competing in single elimination format. With Cincinnati and SMU already through to the semis, the other 4 seeds are set to meet in the first round of play on Friday. Number 6 seed Tulsa will face number 3 seed and host UCF at 3:30, and number 5 seed Tulane will take on the number 4 seed Houston at 6 p.m. The semifinal round matches are scheduled for 1 and 3:30 on Saturday and air live on Facebook via the American Digital Network, and the conference championship match on tap for 1:30 Sunday on ESPNU. The volleyball honors for the last week: Jordan Thompson of Cincinnati, 7th time this season getting that honor, and helped lead the Bearcats to a 2-0 mark last weekend and the East Division title. And the Defensive Player of the Week was Montana Watts of SMU, as she helped guide SMU to a sweep of Houston on Sunday to get the top spot in the West. Meanwhile, the volleyball award winners for the 2019 season, Cincinnati, Tulsa, SMU, and Houston, secured major honors and awards. Cincinnati's Jordan Thompson, as we mentioned, was the Player of the Week, was unanimous Player of the Year for the 3rd time in a career. Tulsa's Taylor Horsfall earned the Defensive Player of the Year recognition for the 2nd time. SMU's Lily Haim was first-time Center of the Year. Tulsa's Delaria Gedikoglu was named the Freshman of the Year. Head coach David Rare from Houston was Coach of the Year after guiding the Cougars to a second-place finish in the West Division of the American. Turning to men's basketball, breaking news on Wednesday: Memphis star freshman and potential NBA number 1 draft pick James Wiseman suspended 12 games for the recruiting inducements his family received prior to enrolling at Memphis, the NCAA announced Wednesday evening. Wiseman sat out Memphis' last game over Alcorn State, thus allowing his punishment to move forward to be an 11-game suspension. His return will be January 12th when the Tigers take on South Florida in conference play. As additional punishment, the NCAA also stipulates that Wiseman must pay $11,500 to a charity of his choice. That's the exact dollar amount the NCAA found was paid from Memphis coach Penny Hardaway to Wiseman's mother before he was Memphis' head coach, and that for moving expenses in high school in 2017. Basketball honors for the week: Brandon Rashaw of Tulsa averaged 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals. Shot 75% for the field in 2 wins for the Golden Hurricane last week. And he turned in his first 30-point performance of the season in a 30.7 rebound, 5 steal game against Austin Peay on Saturday. And the freshman of the week, Lester Quinones of Memphis, 18 points, 18.5 points, 6 rebounds, as the Tigers were 1-1 on the week. Women's hoops, the honors there: Olivia Nelson-Nadota of UConn, her second and third consecutive double-doubles as number 4 UConn had a 2-0 week that included an 83-54 conference win over Temple. And the freshman of the week is Maria Alvarez of USF. She averaged 15.5 points, 3.5 assists, 2.5 rebounds, as the Bulls went 2-0 last week and remain undefeated on the season. And from cross country, a banner day for the AAC last Friday. The Americans saw 2 regional championships crowned, a combined 6 NCAA championship automatic bids secured, and 21 student athletes earned all regional citations after competing in the Division I regional championship meets across the country. Tulsa, the reigning cross-country champions, easy for me to say, of the American or automatic bids to the NCAA Division I championships in Terre Haute, Indiana. That will take place coming up on Saturday. And in the men's 10K race on Friday, the Golden Hurricanes scored 37 points to win the Midwest Regional in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And Patrick Dever was the top individual finish for Tulsa, third place with a time of 30:46.8 there. And also Aaron Benefield of Cincinnati continued his terrific season, adding another trophy to his 2019 campaign. Second Bearcat runner in program history to win a regional by besting the field at the Great Lakes Regional in the men's 10K at the Zimmer Championship course in Madison, Wisconsin. As always, keep it on the Knightline Sports Network. Check out that podcast feed for always the latest and greatest. Adam Eaton will preview the UCF Tulane game with the Knightline Extra coming up, so make sure you check that out. And then on Sunday, Andrew Fagley will have the breakdown of the game with special guests in tow on Knightline the morning after Sunday morning at 9 o'clock on ESPN Orlando 580. And then he'll be back with Trace Trulco come Sunday night for another edition of our flagship program, Knightline. Adam Eaton back with his buddy UCF Mike for the Sons of UCF. We'll also have their full perspective on everything that is UCF sports related. And this has been the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network. I'm Jeff Allen. Thanks for listening.